The Francisco Lindor walk-off home run from Friday night, ice cold in his veins. The way that Francisco Lindor pimps home runs.
He knows it off the bat, and he looks at the dugout. He drops the bat first, stands there for a bit, admires his work. Then he starts up the first baseline, and he tells everyone to come out. He welcomes everyone out to the celebration. Lights go out. Citi Field is just absolutely raucous. He gets the water bath. That was electric. Fireworks, smoke, lights, everything.
Welcome to Meet at the Apple, presented by PC Richard & Son. I'm Vito Calisi. That's Jonathan Barron. Thank you for meeting us at the Apple after the Mets have swept the Cardinals in a 4-game series at Citi Field. I feel like this is the coming off the biggest high we've had of doing a show this season.
This season, yeah. First time the Mets have swept the Cardinals in a 4-game series since 1986. Not to get too ahead of ourselves. Mets,
you usually hate numbers like that.
Well, I just said one. I liked it. Mets 9-1 at home through the first 10 games. And, I think that what we learned this weekend is how special a place Citi Field is. And I almost keep forgetting that it's only April. Part of me feels like this is just one big continuation from 2024, which I think I've said in a previous episode. But also, the crowds being what they've been this weekend, and the games being as fun and exciting as they have been. The Lindor walk-off on Friday night, Black Legacy night on Thursday, and Saturday, a packed house. Really felt like that Phillies game on September 21st last year. I mean, you look across the way, you got a team that wears red. Sometimes they have an alternate baby blue jersey. Same with the Phillies. It just felt that way. And then Sunday, Easter Sunday here at the stadium, the Mets get out to a lead. Some great theatrics throughout the game. Cardinals tie it. Mets come right back, and they eventually put it away. But it feels like it's, August or September, and the Mets are in a pennant race. And really what I'm getting at is we're having so much fun here, and it's only April. Try to extrapolate the feelings we have to what this is going to be like in June, July, August, September. It's just so great to have Mets baseball back, and it's so great to have a great Mets team back. And I think this has been building throughout Steve Cohen and Alex Cohen's ownership. And, the big move this offseason with Juan Soto, and I think some tinkering in the rotation, which has been the best in baseball. And we'll talk about that in this lineup, and guys that we didn't expect to be doing it. And it's sick, to steal a word from Pete Alonso.
Yeah, man. Like you said it, like that this doesn't feel like April. It feels like the middle of the season, because when have you ever seen this team have sellout crowds in April outside of opening day?
I think the promo team has done a great job. The Nimmo hoodie was awesome, and the Mr. Met goes to the Empire State Building bobblehead's an awesome piece. I think that, I've often said that Juan Soto is in a way underpaid. And I know this stupid nonsense this week about, what his comments, and everyone's trying to make a mountain out of a molehill, and we talked about that. But when you acquire that guy, that once in a generation free agent, that's a splash, and people are going to come out, and people are excited about this team, and they already had a star in Lindor, and then they bring Pete Alonso back, and everyone wants to see the trumpets and the light shows and just all the good stuff that happens. It's a great stadium to come to. I've always felt like even when the Mets aren't good, Citi Field's a great place to be. A nice weekend day, once the weather warms up, you're getting 30, 35,000 people here by default, because it's a great place to be.
I've said before that, like, weirdly, one of my favorite years as a Mets fan, before 2024, I probably would have said my favorite year as a Mets fan was 2012. It wasn't an especially good team, but it was really fun. We saw Ari Dickey's 20-win season. We saw the no-hitter. It was just like a really fun year of baseball coming to Citi Field. You don't always need a winning team to have fun here, but when it's like this and we have these winning teams, it feels great. And these crowds are incredible. And like you brought up the promo team and everything last week, but Thursday night, no promo, Black Legacy night, that game was packed and the fans were going nuts. I mean, Easter Sunday, that's like not a day where everybody has like the time to come to a baseball game. A lot of people are home with their families, and this place was packed again. Yeah, I'm so excited to see Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday against Philly.
Yeah, no, it's great. A great 4-game weekend series, and so many moments. So let's get into the top 5 moments of the series presented by PC Richard & Son. Vito, what's number 5?
Number 5 is going to be Francisco Lindor's leadoff home run in Game 4.
And a very unique situation where Lindor ends Game 2 with a walk-off home run, and then hits almost an identical home run to lead off Game 4 against Sonny Gray, a tough pitcher to face. Francisco had an incredible series, 7 for 18, those 2 big home runs, starting things the right way, had 4 hits on Sunday afternoon. So a great series for Francisco. And like we mentioned, that leadoff home run, he did it last year, I believe, against Dylan Cease on Father's Day. So something about the holidays and Francisco having big days. A really great start. And you know what? I think the Mets came in wanting to get that sweep. You know, you take the first 3, give me that killer instinct team. I think we learned something about the Mets today to take all 4 from a Cardinal team, which, by the way, right before they came here to New York, they took 2 of 3 from the Phillies last week, and the Phillies are coming in also. So a team that can play, a team that definitely has some playoff aspirations. Francisco showing out this week, and I think we have another moment later on the countdown, but we'll get to that in a bit.
Yeah, and real quick, I do want to say Game 4, I especially think that this was an important game because this was the first win that I felt was the offense completely clicking, and it wasn't like miscues from the Cardinals. It wasn't errors in the infield. It was all the Mets just like situational hitting, hard contact, Juan Soto going just deep into center field. These things led to this win, and it made me excited for the future. But Game 4 had another standout moment. Game 4, the number 4 moment, Brandon Nimmo commits a robbery out in left field. That ball was going to hit metal grate if Brandon didn't jump up and grab it. Watching that live, incredible 6. Oh, Brandon Nimmo just out there just crushing.
Yeah, not the first time we've seen Brandon rob a home run here. Obviously, we all remember August 31st, 2022, him stealing one from Justin Turner. Brandon gets up, man. He's one heck of an athlete, had a big hit as well in Game 4.
And that saved Trump at night, right?
It did save Timmy Trump at night, but this one saved a home run for Clay Holmes off his ledger, and it kept the Mets still at single-digit home runs allowed. And man, oh man, poor Jordan Walker. I saw his reaction after slamming the helmet in pure frustration. So that's a tough one. Also a tough one for the Cardinals to have to face Kodai Senga and his ghost fork on Saturday, Vito.
And the number 3 moment of this series was Kodai Senga's start. Craziest thing about this, we've seen this multiple times from Kodai so far this year. The guy just does not give up any barrels, just no hard contact versus Kodai Senga.
I think it's a lot of guessing when Kodai Senga's on the mound. He's got a really vast arsenal. And with Kodai, obviously, we know about the ghost fork, and opponents, they know it's coming. He has still held opponents to 2 for 24 with the pitch, 14 strikeouts. That's what's so crazy is it is his go-to strikeout pitch. All 4 strikeouts he recorded on Saturday came by the ghost fork. But when he's also pumping 97 with the 4-seamer and also mixing in a cutter that lefties really have to respect, it's not that easy to just say, hey, with 2 strikes, I'm gonna look for the ghost. And he does such a great job tunneling the pitch. It's such a deceptive pitch, the way it looks like a fastball coming out of his hand, and then it drops off the table. So to barrel him up, forget that. To make contact is tough. To barrel him up, not happening. A lot of weak contact, like you mentioned, a lot of weak, lazy pop-ups for Kodai, who has just been sensational. We talked with Carlos Mendoza earlier on Sunday about where he's at as the Mets try to build him back up. Seems like Kodai could be back to just full, unshackled, going 100-plus pitches. Great to see. Really, really, I don't want to say the ace. You know, I don't like that term.
You don't.
But he is anchoring this rotation.
Yeah, and what's cool about Kodai Senga is that there's those games where you're going to get those like high strikeout Kodai Senga, the ghost fork is just forking. But you're seeing that the Jeremy Hefner, the philosophy that these guys have is like also just inducing ground balls, get double plays, get guys out on the ground. So Kodai Senga just working, and that is, it's just fun to watch Kodai. You got some fans out there, Chris, who's come to the...
Yes, sir. Chris, the teacher with the ghosts.
Chris, the teacher, hanging up all the ghosts, putting those up. So, just shout out to the fans because that's the stuff that makes this place special. So,
yes, sir.
Number 2 moment, Mark Vientos goes yard in back-to-back games.
Yeah, Mark hits his first home run of the season on Thursday, opposite field shot. We saw that double in Minnesota. That was a great sign. He uses right field again for his first home run. And then Friday night, hits a ball that was like 6 feet off the ground. I think it was the 3rd tallest, if you would, pitch hit for a home run by a Met in the StatCast era. Actually, the pitch tracking era, that goes back to 2008. So Mark expanding the strike zone, looking like Vladimir Guerrero, just hitting anything. Remember Vlad, he would hit a ball at his ankles, he'd hit a ball at his eyes. Mark doing the same thing, and the Mets were down 3-2 at that time. For Mark to hit that home run, tie the game, get the Mets right back in it after they were down 2-0, came back to tie it, give up a run, a little bit deflated. Nope, no problem. We're right back in this bad boy. Then he made the great catch, of course, on Saturday that he had a little groin strain as a result of. But Mark's also been a Cardinal killer in his life. I think he's 4 for 8 with 3 homers.
Last year.
We all remember the walk-off he hit against Matthew Liberatore back on April 28th of last season. So Mark's starting to heat up for sure. Look forward to seeing him back in the lineup, but a really great series from Mark Vientos, who, guys, he's going to be totally okay. That power doesn't grow on trees.
And the number one moment of Mets Cardinals, you know what it's going to be. I barely even have to say it, but I am. The Francisco Lindor walk-off home run from Friday night, ice cold in his veins. The way that Francisco Lindor pimps home runs. And did you hear his quote on why he does it this way?
No.
He said multiple guys on the team said Francisco told them, "I'm not going to celebrate a home run in a big way until it's celebrating a championship."
All right. I mean, there's a lot to unpack with that home run. So he knows it off the bat.
Yeah.
Poor Ryan Fernandez. And he looks at the dugout. He drops the bat first, stands there for a bit, admires his work. Totally. Love it. If you do a good job, admire it. No problem with that at all. Then he starts up the first base line and he tells everyone to come out. He welcomes everyone out to the celebration. Lights go out. Citi Field is just absolutely raucous. Rounds the bases as you do on a home run. He gets the water bath. That was electric. Fireworks, smoke, lights, everything. People going nuts, throwing drinks in the air. When I talk about why this feels like it's not April, it's because a moment like Friday. And I also want to rehash this from last season. Friday nights at Citi Field, when the black jerseys come out, things get nutty. It's a party. I would hate to be in the other dugout. It is a tough place to be for an opponent. The Mets last year on Friday night smashed so many home runs. And once again, this past Friday, it felt the same thing, the same way as our friend Darren from UK would say, absolute scenes here at Citi Field as Francisco Lindor hits his first career walk-off home run as a member of the Mets. Second walk-off RBI this season. He, of course, had one against Toronto back in early April.
And the first time a player has ever hit their 250th home run as a walk-off.
That is also true. And 250 is a nice number.
Yeah.
For a shortstop, a guy like Lindor, 350, 400 with the kind of defense he plays, a guy that plays virtually every single day. I know the conversation is starting to happen, especially as guys reach those round numbers. You look at his black ink score on Baseball Reference. Francisco Lindor is going to be a Hall of Famer, especially at the position he plays. He is in the company with some of the best shortstops we've ever seen. I'm talking Cal Ripken Jr. Power-wise, maybe not A-Rod, but A-Rod is A-Rod's a different type. I'll tell you who he's better than.
The guy he's closing in on. I think he's like, 10 or 12 home runs away from
when
Jeter right now?
When it's all said and done, he is absolutely a more dynamic baseball player.
I'm just talking about a home run. I'm just talking about home runs, not like overall. I'm just saying he's closing in on him home run-wise right now. Like 10 away, I think.
Special player. I mean, dude, Carlos Mendoza, back on May 18th, whatever it was, he woke up that morning, he said, I'm going to move a struggling Francisco Lindor to the top of the lineup. He's been there ever since, and he's been one of the best players in baseball, just offensively. Forget the defense that he brings. How about the spinning play he made, by the way, to get out of the eighth inning, helping A.J. Minter out? That is a tough play going to the left of second base, fielding, spinning, and making an accurate throw. Because when you spin, you try to make that throw, and you have no idea. You totally lose your bearings. Incredible.
The jump throw today, I would say probably the coolest jump throw I've ever seen a New York shortstop do.
This guy never passes up on an opportunity. But I love it. Probably
the cool. Like I was looking at that picture, I was like, man, like this is the best it's ever looked.
I love it.
So,
I love it.
And also just the My Girls this weekend. My Girls this weekend were amazing.
Yeah, look, it's always a special moment. I think that we've got the math down. Also, the perfect way to get the best My Girl to get to the chorus where we want to get to. An incredible weekend all around, and I want to bring something up. On the topic of energy and fun in the stadium that we saw this weekend, and I saw some tweets about it. I think it's a big topic of conversation amongst the fans, and I feel a certain way. I don't know how you feel about this, and I think we're going to keep seeing it all season. So let's embrace the debate, and that is the topic of the wave. So there were some waves this I think every day there was a wave of this 4-game series against the Cardinals, and I remember back in the Shea days, my dad would take me. We sit in the mezz, we sit in the upper deck. The wave, I feel like it's a Met home game thing. I know that they do it other places, but I really feel like it's a thing here in Queens. And I vividly remember back then being around grumpy curmudgeons that would say, stop the wave, we're watching the ball game, and I hate the wave. And people would have shirts say, ban the wave.
Yeah, like a no swimming sign with the wave.
Yeah.
And I'm one of those people. I don't like the wave.
Okay.
I especially don't like the wave. I think the wave is best suited at a football game. You know why?
Why?
You're in a bowl. You're in a bowl, so it's a continuous effect. I don't like the wave when there's breaks in the seats.
There's a little break in the batter's eye, but it's not a bad break. Shea was a real break. This is way less of a break. Hunter?
I was gonna say personally, it made more sense at Shea because it was much more circular. I thought.
Yeah, but there was a gigantic break.
There was
I know,
a big
but-
break there.
I know, but
There's not that big of a break here.
No,
you
but
go
still
from
a break.
the apple seeds
You still
to...
have to time it. You still have to be like, okay,
Yeah,
like
but the people got it down.
I just don't. One, I don't like it. I feel like it's if you're gonna do it, you should be doing it when the other team is pitching, not when the Mets are pitching.
Okay. That's a fair critique.
And it's also like, I don't know. There's just something about the wave I don't like, and it just feels silly all around. It's just like standing up and then sitting right back down. I don't like the wave.
All right. So
Anti-wave.
I could not disagree anymore. And I've got a very non-scientific, total anecdotal, linear equation type thing to say about the wave here. And it's that I think, and I'm talking straight to the single here, I think when the wave is happening at Citi Field, the place is popping, the fans are loving it, and it is an indicator of what is to come. Whether it's a huge moment, a big night. When we've got the wave going, it's because people are having fun. They're buying those Heinekens. They're drinking those Heinekens. They're getting another Heineken. They're feeling good. They're having a great time at Citi Field. They're being as loud as they can for their beloved New York Mets. So I equate the wave to a good time at Citi Field. And I'm not a person that's here to try to stop people from having a good time. Maybe you guys are, but I'm not. I want to have a good time at Citi Field.
I like the lights that we do during pitching changes. I love my girl. I love that fan interaction stuff. I don't like the wave, and I especially hate the guy in your section who's like way too into starting the wave and is like, come on, guys, come on, wait, we're going to do it.
But
One,
that person,
2,
but
3.
that's an energetic person. That's someone that's in the stands to have fun and
I'll
to
do
make
a Let's Go Mets
noise.
chant till I collapse. The wave, not for me.
When the wave goes off, you look around and it really takes off and it really starts making its way around the stadium.
The wave is about me. It's not about the team. The
I
wave
don't
is
think so.
The wave is like, look at me, look at me.
Who's me?
Me, the person sitting.
When it's 40,000 people in unison doing it together, there's
It's
no
more of
me.
a self-pat in
That's
the back.
us. I think it's the entire stadium banding together and do it. You can't do the wave with one. You can't do the wave with two. You do the wave with 30, 35, 40,000. So basically, the wave is a team effort of the fans getting together and making something happen, being loud, being fun, being exuberant, enjoying themselves. And when they're doing A, which is the wave, they're also doing B, which is going crazy on noise meters and hits and screaming, let's go Mets. The two go hand in hand. When there's no wave, it's more of a dead crowd. When there's a wave, we're getting lit at Citi Field. It's Liddy Field.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's unfair to say like, oh, when there's a wave, that means everybody's going crazy because if there's a wave, that
They
means...
don't do the wave when the Mets are down 10-1.
But yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
Well, don't do that, guys. Actually, no, have fun. Have fun.
When
Come
Citi
back to
Field-
the wave.
But the way a wave works is the stadium has to be packed. So it's like, yes, the stadium is going to be wild and everybody's going to have a good time because the stadium is packed. The wave is just a byproduct of the stadium being packed.
Okay.
The stadium's not packed because of the wave.
I understand that, but the more people, if you're not a baseball fan, right? You come to Citi Field for the first time. You're not here for the baseball. You're here for the music, the food, the entertainment, the fun, the sense of community. That's what it's all about, right?
Yeah.
If you get a good wave, people love it, man. There's a reason why 40,000 people participate in the wave because it's a fun thing to do. I get it. I'm a baseball guy. I'm about to talk about Clay Holmes' kick change. I'm about to talk about the Mets strikeout rate as a pitching unit and as an offense. I love baseball, all right?
I talk to my friends. They say, hey, what'd you have? Did you have a fun time at the game? They're like, oh my God, Francisco Lindor hit a walk-off home run. You know what nobody ever said to me? It was great, man. In the third inning, I stood up and I sat back down a few times. It was fun.
Well, that's the most pessimistic way of looking at it. I, with 40,000 new friends of mine, band together and did this really fun thing, and we got the energy in the stadium up, and everyone had a great time. And I went home and I said, you know what? I had so much fun at Citi Field. I'm going back tomorrow.
If my friend came and said that to me, I would be so annoyed if they
You
gave me
should be happy about it. You should be happy about it because we want new fans. We want everyone. Guys, if you're out there, if you're hearing this podcast for the first time, if you somehow stumbled upon it, your YouTube algorithm led you to us, hello, come to Citi Field, do the wave, eat the hot dog, drink the Heineken, sing the song. Let's have fun together. Pro wave, baby. Let's go, Mets. Keep it up, Mets fans.
You know what's funny?
What's funny?
If this is the first time you're listening to this podcast, I'm usually not grumpy guy.
Well,
I'm usually fun, silly guy. So this is an interesting turn, but I'm gonna stand by my thing. Ban the wave. So
first of all, you can't ban the wave. I want to put a poll up on the board one day. Are you pro or anti wave? And then we can get a little animation going, or maybe just like some like water waves,
or just do a vote. You could do a vote like
That's
you
what
do
I'm
the
saying,
karaoke.
like a vote. Yeah. Maybe instead of karaoke, we just do one big wave. That's
I
actually
would take
kind of
that.
fun.
If you get it, if you set up one group wave at the 8th inning stretch, everybody does it and gets it out the way, fine, deal. I'll take that.
All I'm saying is if people are doing it, it's because we're having fun that night. And it's all about having, I walk around, I love to ask everyone, we're having fun today? That's what it's all about. No, you got to keep in mind, you got to remember, we're here to have a good time. What are you laughing about?
I walk around, I go up to people and say, are we having fun?
Yeah.
Are we having fun yet?
Sometimes you got to remind yourself that we're here to have a good time.
Hey,
Are we having fun right now?
Yeah, we're having fun right now.
Okay, let's keep having fun then.
You know what's really fun?
Tell me.
The Mets pitching.
The Mets pitching is very fun.
The Mets pitching is fun to watch right now. Oh, and before the season, everybody was like, oh my God, the Mets have no pitching. The Mets have no pitching. And guess what? Mets have pitching.
The Mets have pitching. It started on Thursday with Griffin Canning, who had arguably his best start as a Met, and it was the fastball for Canning. And I know the fastball, the four-seamer, had been a pitch that he had gotten himself into some trouble with in Anaheim last year. The Mets have worked on that pitch with Griffin. The sequencing is a lot better, and the location is just chef's kiss. He had a ton of success with the pitch. I think he held the Cardinals to 1 for 12 with the four-seam fastball. And I looked because I was thinking, well, maybe it's a matchup thing. Maybe the Cardinal lineup struggles against heat. And no, it wasn't that at all. The Cardinals are top 5 in batting average against four-seam fastballs this year, and they're top 10 in slugging against fastballs. I think it's just a matter of locating, pitch shape, tunneling, and really, like I said, the sequencing of his pitches, mixing them in, because the changeup's a huge weapon of his. And perhaps he was pitching backwards a little bit, where the Cardinals are going up there looking for the changeup, looking for the slider that Canning's really used as his bread and butter this season. And instead, on this night, it was the four-seam fastball that was his go-to weapon.
Yeah, man, Griffin Canning has been the real like standout surprise of this rotation, which is, obviously that was to be expected if you looked at these guys in this rotation. Who had the best chance to shock you? It was going to be Canning, but he's been a pleasure to watch. And then today, dude, we talked a little bit about Clay Holmes before, but we're going to talk about him a little more. 6 innings, only an earned run, 6 strikeouts, just inducing whiff after whiff. 50% whiff rates off for his changeup and his sweeper, both just like. It's so funny just watching Clay Holmes develop. In every pitch, he just looks so much more and more comfortable as a starter, which he said in his post-game presser today. But yeah, we're talking about Griffin Canning being the surprise of the offseason for the Mets, but Clay Holmes is really turning out to be the steal of the offseason for the Mets.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I don't think you're surprised. No. I think that, there's... We saw what happened yesterday in Tampa, and it was funny because, Devin Williams blew a 4-run lead in the 9th inning. And remember, I know I'm taking my chance now to talk about that team, but everyone complained about Clay Holmes, and I've said over and over, like, a blown save, it's a stupid statistic. If you're a reliever and you have a 1-run lead and you pitch in the 6th inning, you give up a run, you get a BS hung in your blown save column. It's not fair. It's not right. If you go out there and you're Clay Holmes and you allow 1 run over 6 innings like you did on Sunday, it's a great outing. But if that 1 run that you're going to allow comes at the wrong time when you're a reliever going in the game, then it looks a lot worse. For Clay, he records 18 outs on Sunday. You mentioned 6 strikeouts, 8 ground balls. So 14 of the 18 outs he recorded were via the ground ball or the strikeout, and that's his game. He's been a whiff machine, as you mentioned. Lefties this season against Clay, against this kick change, 3 for 9, 7 strikeouts. It is an absolute death ball for lefties. And I think he's getting a better feel as he continues to go. It's the first time he's throwing this pitch regularly this season. The weather's starting to warm up. Today was 70 degrees, beautiful day here at Citi Field. And he just looks more and more comfortable. And just like Kodai Senga, Clay Holmes continues to build up a little bit more. I think he's at a point now where the Mets don't have to worry too much about a pitch count, having a hard number where he's got to come out of the game. I know that they're probably going to be a little cautious, like we've talked about, to keep him fresh over the long haul, but he's a dominant pitcher, and he's a different look also. He's a hard sinker ball pitcher. He's unlike any of the other guys in the rotation, and that's why I love this rotation. Everyone brings a different look. Everyone has a different trick, and they all have success in different ways. And I think it makes the job for the opposing hitting coaches and hitters lineup, it makes it tough to really game plan because every night it's a different look, and the Mets can beat you in so many ways when it comes to the pitching. And then they apply things just incredibly well with Jeremy Hefner and Jose Rosado and Desi Druschel and the incredible folks in the front office who, make up the pitching lab and just really put a comprehensive game plan together. David Peterson, let's talk about him and his start on Friday. He was beat by some ground balls that got through. Clay Holmes ground balls found gloves today. That's baseball, Susan. But David Peterson, 9 strikeouts, no walks. That's massive for David Peterson. His last 2 starts now combined, 14 strikeouts, no walks. The base on ball was David Peterson's biggest bugaboo. We know he has the weapon to eliminate it with the ground ball rate, but for him to not be issuing free passes, that's massive. This guy is such a good pitcher. I don't think enough Mets fans talk about how good David Peterson has become.
Yeah, I mean, look, we started seeing this last year where David Peterson, you could see the beginnings of what could be a guy in years to come could start getting some Cy Young votes, which I'm going to say this now. I think we might have said this last week. This is the year where you're going to see this is the year where you're going to see David Peterson in that Cy Young conversation, I think.
Yeah, he gives the Mets length, 5-6 innings minimum. He goes out there. He always puts the Mets in position to win. I think he allowed 3 runs on Friday night. That's a rarity for David Peterson. It's usually 2 or fewer going back to the start of last year.
I think it was something of like 22 of his last 24 starts.
Yeah.
2 or less runs allowed.
Yeah. He also has one of the best pickoff moves in baseball. Going back to 2022, I think he leads baseball in pickoffs, so he eliminates guys that way too. It's really tough to run on David Peterson. I mean, not to take a shot at this guy at all. A very good Met, and he was here this weekend. Steven Matz. Steven Matz had some trouble controlling the running game. I remember the Diamondbacks were here. I think it was 2017 or 20. I think it was 2017, 2018 in that era. And I think the D-backs stole like 10 bases in a game against Steven Matz. That's not the case. I mean, we know Louis Torrens and Hayden Senger have that running game on lock. It's impossible to run against the Mets. I think they've allowed like 6 stolen bases all season. But as Louis Torrens mentioned to us in an interview you guys will see soon, a big part of controlling the running game is on pitchers.
Yeah.
You got to be quick to the plate. You've got to have a pickoff move that base runners respect. With David Peterson, that's a big part of it. He is a very, very sneaky good pickoff artist. That's not really a term, but
and he's incredibly athletic. I mean,
very
like,
great athlete.
There was a moment in that game where like David Peterson like ducked out of the way of a line drive, and you could see. And I think like after that, Gary, Keith, and Ron were like, "Oh, he looks frustrated with that pitch." And I was like, "Oh no, I don't think he was frustrated with the pitch. I think he was mad at himself because he knows that he's the kind of guy that could just catch that ball like 9 out of 10 times."
Yeah.
But David Peterson is just like. He is for a guy his height and his size too.
Nimble,
agile, crazy.
Yeah. Look, there's 2 statistics that really, I think, tell the story of why the Mets are having the success that they're having. Number 1 is a stat. They have the highest K rate in baseball. I mentioned that, but we'll dig into it a bit more here. And every time they're here, we got the K board in left field. I look up and there's always double-digit strikeouts. Today, I think there were 6 or 7 called strike threes. So, they're really leaving hitters guessing, leaving hitters confused. But every time you look up, there's 10, 12, 14 strikeouts.
8th inning, I look up, I feel like it's always 12.
Always double digits. It's a swing and miss rotation. It's a swing and miss bullpen, whether it's Edwin or AJ Minter, who, by the way, has held right-handed hitters this year to 3 for 24. I remember Scott Schoenweiss when they got him. The big thing about Scott Schoenweiss was everyone said, "Oh, he gets lefties and righties out." AJ Minter gets lefties and righties out. Mendy talked to us about that in spring training, why he was so excited about Minter, who didn't miss any time at all. He looks just as good as he did before his hip injury. He looks mint.
Minty fresh.
Reed Garrett, just an absolute buzzard out of the bullpen. I don't even know how to describe. Reed Garrett has become a premier reliever in this game. And Mendy being able to put him in the 6th inning sometimes as a high leverage guy without burning the Staniks and the Diazes in the back of the bullpen. The guys throwing, Staniks pumping 99 consistently with a nasty slider. We saw Edwin had an easy 3 outs on Saturday afternoon. So the strikeout rate, the best in baseball. And they've now allowed 9 home runs in 22 games. And I think a lot of it is, we talk about the barrel rate against. Opponents just don't barrel balls up against this Mets staff. And I don't know if it's different angles, different pitch shapes. We wanted to talk to Mendy about, if a Clay Holmes starts, right? And he's a guy that's throwing heavy bowling ball sinkers and the kick change. Do you maybe want to not use a Jose Butto? He did on Sunday, but Jose Butto also relies on an off-speed pitch a lot. Maybe it's a Max Kranick who's more fastball slider. Do you try to mix and match and contrast between the guy that started versus the guy that's coming in relief? But the Mets have so many weapons, and it all culminates in what we're seeing. And like you mentioned, the people preseason talking about how they don't have pitching, again, they're doing this all without Sean Manaea, Frankie Montas. Brandon Sproat has put together now 3 really solid starts. I know we're going to talk about it in the future of Flushing, but The Mets have more depth when it comes to the arm department that's going to be here before we know it.
I was even going to mention on another level, like Paul Blackburn is rehabbing right now.
That's
Who's
correct.
supposed to be in this rotation.
That's correct.
He pitched 2 innings today down in
Binghamton, I think.
I think it was Brooklyn.
Okay. Yeah, it was yesterday.
yeah.
It was on Saturday he pitched. Yeah.
But like there's arms coming and there's arms here, and then I mean we saw Justin Hageman like also last week just come out and
one
give,
hit over 4 great innings.
the one thing to not worry about right now is pitching, and then even like we'll even bring up a negative thing that was still a positive with Braziman. Braziman comes in the 9th inning on Friday night, gives up a home run, but then completely locks back down, gets the next 3 guys out. Mets go on to win that game. And, it's funny. I actually had when Braziman came out, I actually had halfway written a text I was about to send you and be like, hey, when's the last time a guy started a game and got a save in the same week?
David Peterson.
Oh, yeah? Oh, the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually thought about that too because he started on Wednesday in Minnesota.
Yeah.
So that's us sharing a brain. But then I realized, oh yeah, David Peterson did that.
But it's funny, that period felt so crazy because it was so like it was.
Yeah, one was regular season, one was playoffs.
But not even that. I mean, it just felt that doesn't feel like the same week. Like in your brain, even like back then, that felt like the Atlanta to Milwaukee felt like forever. So
2 weeks.
Yeah, cool. So, is there anything else we need to talk about the major league guys before we move on to future Flushing?
We talked about the wave. We're just looking at our notes here. I mean, let's talk about the lineup a little bit.
Yeah.
I want to start with L.A. Acuña, baby. I mean,
God.
he moves up today. He's hitting 6th. Couple hits. Even a ground ball out he made. Moved a runner from second over to third base. A productive out. The ball that got past Gorman, that he turned into a double. I think they gave him a double for it.
Like he could have.
Yeah, no one was covering third.
Yeah.
The Cardinals had a little blip there, but that's what speed does. I forget who used to say that's what speed do. There was an NFL receiver who said that. That's what speed do. But
I also want to
do you
give
know
him,
who it is?
Looking at the
Was
wrong
it
guy.
Steve Smith? I don't know, but
I also want to give Luisangel Acuña credit for that play Friday night with Nolan Arenado.
yeah,
That was so incredibly impressive. The ducking out of the way, sliding past him. Look, unfortunately, he slides past the bag. He gets tagged out. But the athleticism and the awareness of him in that moment and the aggressiveness.
yeah. I think that's the big thing is the aggressiveness. I think that he is becoming much more comfortable at the major league level. I think that what he went through last year in September, coming up in a pennant race, filling the shoes of Francisco Lindor, and doing it in the way that he did, and then getting a taste of postseason baseball, he's no longer a rookie. That was, I'm sure, so important for his maturation as a ball player to get to go through that. So he feels like he can do things like that and have success on the diamond. 6 steals, only 9 strikeouts, and 50+ plate appearances already. He's been hitting nonstop, a 360 OBP. If a guy with his tools, especially running wise, can get on the bases at a 360 OBP clip, he's a terror for opponents. And he's been playing incredibly well defensively.
Yeah, he's just like a real
He's a spark plug.
He's a spark plug, and he's just like something that it's a luxury to have a guy like that on a team. A guy that like he might like we very well might see him play center field at some point for this team. We might see him move all over this field and like do different things, and being able to have a guy like that. And I do think that's the future of this team and baseball in general. I think you're going to see a lot more guys that are just playing all over the field, and you're going to see guys playing center field, playing second base, because there's no reason not to.
He is the mold of we've talked about this in the past, where the game is going. Young, athletic, puts the ball in play, fast. Obviously, baseball changed its rules, the pickoff rule, making the bases bigger, encouraging more running. We saw it again today. How about Tyrone Taylor tagging up on that sac fly? That ball was hit around 260 feet, not deep at all. And he comes home a sprint speed just under elite, 29.8 feet per second. 30 is elite sprint speed, according to Baseball Savant, StatCast data. But the aggressiveness, again, on the bases. We talked about it this morning with Mendy, and then we saw it right then and there. Make the other team make a play.
Yeah.
Make Jordan Walker make a perfect throw. Make the catcher make a perfect tag. Neither happened. The Mets get a run there on a ball that usually is not deep enough to drive in a run. Tyrone Taylor this series, 4 for 11, 4 runs scored every time he got on base. He scored a run at the bottom of the lineup, getting on base, setting the table for the guys at the top of the lineup, playing great defense in center field. Tyrone Taylor was an unsung hero in the series.
Tyrone Taylor was an unsung hero last year. I mean, we saw Tyrone Taylor come up in humongous moments, make fantastic catches, because the defense, I feel, is also really underlooked with Tyrone Taylor as well.
He's a vacuum in center field. You cannot go wrong with Tyrone Taylor in center field.
No, covers so much ground, makes over-the-shoulder impressive catches like today. Like, it's just, Tyrone Taylor's just a guy.
Also gets great reads on balls.
Yeah.
The first step is so important for outfielders, but especially the center fielder who's covering the most ground out there. You need to get a good read and have a good, clean, strong first step to build the momentum to get to where the ball is going to be. He is incredible at that. So a great weekend by Tyrone Taylor. And then, I was thinking about this when we put the outline together. We haven't really just raved about Juan Soto yet. I know we did Hoodie Soto.
Yeah.
But Juan Soto...
Hey, Keith. He's a big Meet at the Apple fan. He shares our clips.
I know. Juan Soto in the last 3 games of this series. The Mets fans give him the ovation on Friday. He comes up with a big game-tying hit. Does the same thing on Saturday. Comes around to score on Pete's double. Steals a base on Saturday. Over the 3 games here, including the double in I think it was the 8th inning or 7th inning on Sunday.
Yeah.
To really put the game away, give the Mets a 7-3 lead. Going the opposite field, which that is the swing that has made Juan Soto into the Ted Williams kind of figure he's become. He's been the same guy when it comes to controlling the strike zone, but his sweet swing. I mean, the first homer he hit in spring training, left center field. Get used to that, guys. If you didn't watch a lot of Juan Soto when he was a National, a Padre, a Yankee, that's when Juan Soto's at his best. For him to serve that ball the other way against Ryan Fernandez in a 2-strike count, mind you, where he's protecting, it's coming. 5 for 10 the last 3 games, 5 RBI. Getting on base nonstop, scoring ahead of Pete Alonso. We continue for Pete. Each time it seems he's coming up with guys on base. It's coming.
Look, Pete right now, Pete is playing like an MVP candidate. Like, it's pretty crazy to watch Pete Alonso do what he's doing right now. And Hunter and I were talking about this in the booth. I feel like this is a Mets team where we could see 3 different guys start in the All-Star game this year.
Lindor, Soto, and Alonso.
Yeah.
100%. How about Acuña? How about you show me a second baseman in the National League that's making the kind of impact that Acuña is, especially now that he's getting more and more PT. I mean, shoot. He's electric. I saw someone compare him to Jose Reyes. Obviously, a little bit of a different build than Reyes.
Yeah.
A righty, not a lefty. But,
different heights.
Sure. But, the height thing doesn't matter. We'll talk about Joe Williams in a second.
I just meant it's an interesting comp because I would not have ever compared the two. Like
Luisangel Acuña, like Jose Reyes did in 2006. I think he hit 19 home runs that year. Acuña can hit 20 home runs.
Yeah, we saw
he has that kind of pop.
We saw his sneaky pop.
Oh, he has that pop. So I think Acuña, we talked when the season started, there are some things that maybe we're not thinking about or fans aren't thinking about. Guys that are going to make huge impacts and be intricate parts of this team. I think Ronnie Mauricio is still going to be like that. Get him back on the field. Get him playing every day. He's got that talent. He's got that ability. We talked about Brazoban being that kind of guy. After last year, he came over, didn't make the impact we thought, making a huge impact so far this year. Luisangel Acuña, running with it. A young player, given nothing, forced to earn it. That's how young players morph into the kind of stars that they become. We saw the same thing with Mark Vientos last year. I think it's happening with Luisangel Acuña right now. Am I crazy, Hunter?
I don't think you're crazy. I think,
is that just now or in general?
No, well, just now.
Do you want to apologize for anything today?
No.
I was just Lindor said it in the locker room afterwards. Like, he's a spark plug, especially at the bottom of the lineup. That's like almost having 2 leadoff hitters down there.
You said that last week in the show. Maybe Lindor listens.
Maybe Lindor does listen to Meet at the Apple, but it's just
You think his algorithm pushed him in the direction?
It could. I hope Francisco Lindor's watching all of our YouTube videos and listening to the team podcast. But no, he's a
good show.
He's a spark plug down there, and I mean, it just shows you how deep this lineup really is.
And it's getting deeper because Jeff McNeil's returning. He had another home run today for Binghamton.
4 hits.
4 hits. Francisco Alvarez continues his road back. Healing is, very, very speedy healer. Same thing last year, by the way, with the torn ligament in the thumb. Came back well ahead of schedule. So El Troll is just, he's a quick healer. But are we rolling the Mendy episode here? Separate episode, separate bit of content. Guys, check it out. We talked to Mendy earlier on Sunday morning before Game 4 Mets Cardinals. We talked with him about, have you thought about the lineup construction?
I think it's more evergreen than we thought it was. Not like a week evergreen, but like we could put it out a day or two.
Sure. where he's going to place McNeil, where he's going to place Alvarez, both in the lineup and defensively. Is Jeff going to? I mean, Jeff playing center field in the minors is obviously a signal that the Mets have some thought that they want to try this out potentially at the major league level, because you want his bat. By the way, his new torpedo bats, which he's been using.
He's going torpedo?
He got a shipment of torpedoes down in Double-A Binghamton. I believe he's a torpedo guy.
He is going to be somebody that is going to be able to take an advantage of the torpedo bat like most guys aren't
He's
right
a golfer.
now.
He knows how to use that big club head, I feel like. It kind of is transferable.
But also, if you go back to his like pre-shift days where he was able to just really control where he was placing the ball and get through those holes, like I feel like that's the whole concept of a torpedo bat. Is like you're making sure you're placing the ball on that sweet spot, the new sweet spot of the bat.
I think he's looking to continue to pull the ball with authority. I think, and his home run today, and I think the one he hit earlier this week with Binghamton, he pulled both of them. And it was the kind of guy we saw hit the 2 home runs in Miami right out of the All-Star break last year. The guy that we saw in the second half. I think we're going to see more of that from Jeff McNeil. Jeff McNeil is going to be a huge part of this lineup. I'm really excited for his arrival back here, whether it's the Phillies series when the team goes to DC, which we should get it on the Acela.
To DC?
Yeah, I love it down there.
It's one of my, honestly, I think it's a very underrated ballpark.
I've never been there. I went to old RFK.
Oh, I went in 2021. I went to one game of a 7-inning doubleheader, and I went to a regular 9-inning Friday night game. And
there are plenty of tickets available. The Capitals are the #1 seed in the Eastern Conference right now, so it's a cap city.
Dude, I paid like $250 for a ticket, and I sat behind home plate. And
I was going to say, where'd you sit?
I had free booze, free food, and the waiters actually brought you the booze
for $250.
For $250,
it's not bad.
Might have even been. It might have even been $180.
$250 seems steep.
I think it might have been $180, but like, dude, I was like behind home plate. I was having a great time.
Yeah, I mean, with the price of ballpark food and drinks, whatever it is you're looking for, you're probably dropping a Benjamin no matter what.
And I really like the ballpark because it's like when you walk in. It's one of those situations where like the field is a bowl and it's below you.
Oh, it's a ravine.
Yeah. So you walk in like Dodger Stadium almost, but a little. So it's
just like Dodger Stadium, same scenery, same everything. I want to scout their mascot race. I would love for their mascots and our mascots to get together and have a big old race. How about Mr. Met's wheels? By the way, did you know he was that fast?
Hunters.
I say, do you think the Washington Nationals mascot race and the New York Mets mascot rates ever get together for lunch when they're in town?
There's only one way to find out, Hunter. There's only one way to find out. We got to ask him.
First of all, if Teddy does come here, that would be
getting Teddy here would be
phenomenal.
If Teddy won here, if he like burned that poor giraffe, and he keeps having leads and he keeps just fumbling the bag. It's tough.
Yeah, no, I mean that just happens sometimes. Sometimes you're up a few games.
Sometimes it's 2004.
Yeah. Sometimes you're up and, you're playing a rival. Some weird stuff happens. There's some blood in some socks.
Happens.
Anyway, DC, let's look into it.
Shout out to Mr. Met for winning the mascot race on his birthday.
That was. I mean, I didn't even know he was going to be in it. He just, out of the blue, runs out of the gate.
He does whatever he wants.
Doing clapper push-ups, ripping like 20 clappers.
He's ripped. He's jacked. Mr. Met's jacked.
He's got a big head, too. That's a lot of body to move around.
Yeah, I mean,
it's hard to do push-ups with a head like that.
He's impressive. How about his pinata skills?
That was good too.
All right,
one swing.
Let's move on to future of Flushing. Talk about some things going on in the minor leagues. Off the top, I want to talk about Blade Tidwell. 4 1/3 innings pitched, only 1 walk, no runs, 9 strikeouts, only giving up 2 hits on 15 whiffs. John.
Yeah, Blade Tidwell, Dom Hammel, and Brandon Sproat. 3 guys. If you've been friends of ours for a couple years now, these are names we've been talking about for a long time. I don't know who my money is on for who is going to come up first. I think a lot of it could have to do with who pitched more recently. Dom Hammel had a late start to his regular season down with the Smets, but he made his debut and dominated also, no pun intended. Tidwell has grown up. He has evolved, and I think that, proving that a guy can handle it in AAA and do it repetitively in AAA is what it's all about for a front office to say, yep, this guy is ready to face major league hitters, pitch in those triple-decker stadiums. I think Blade Tidwell is getting pretty close. So that's exciting to see. And Brandon Sproat, 6 scoreless innings in his last outing. A different kind of outing, not really striking out a lot of guys, but sometimes you don't need to. Sometimes you don't want to. Sometimes you want to pitch to contact and get through easy at bats and stay in a game longer. And say it again, David Stearns in the booth with Gary Cohen, end of spring training. Gary asks, what do you need to see? David says, we just need to see him continue to get AAA hitters out. That is when we will know he is ready. It's like you go shopping at the store, you're going for some avocados. You gotta know the signs when the avocado's ripe. When it's ready, you bring it home. It might not be, but eventually it's gonna be. And when it is, you make a beautiful guacamole out of it. And sorry, I guess I just called assimilated Brandon Sproat to a beautiful guacamole. But everyone loves guac, and everyone's going to love Brandon Sproat.
I feel like you've done this avocado thing before.
Avocados are fire, so.
But my favorite thing about this Brandon Sproat start was the 0% barrel rate, because it was what we were talking about with Senga and Clay Holmes before. Not giving up hard contact, because if you're not always going to strike guys out, that's the other way to do it. That's the best way to get out of a situation. So just really exciting to see these guys at a higher level just really doing well at AAA. Some other people we want to mention, Jett Williams slugging over 500 this year so far.
Yeah, he's been an extra base hit machine. Jett Williams had one of the best for his age and doing what he did, climbing the ladder in 2023, his first full pro season. One of the best minor league seasons we've seen in Mets history, especially by a first-round pick. Last year sucked. We were so excited for Jett. Last year absolutely sucked. He had the wrist injury out of the gate, just couldn't overcome it. Came back late, had a really strong finish of the season, went and played Arizona Fall League ball because he missed so much time. But make no mistake about it, it sucked to not have Jett continuing his development in 2024. But he has been an extra base hit machine. And again, just like Acuña, people look at him, and I think he fell to where he did, number 14 in that draft, because of his height. It doesn't mean squat. You look at what Alex Bregman has done in his career, and especially what he's doing in Boston, just having a great start to his Red Sox career. A guy like Jose Altuve, and again, with the rule changes, the type of game we're playing, Jett Williams has also played in the outfield. He can play up the middle, second base, and shortstop. Jett Williams is an absolute stud. I am so excited. I know this is like, these are the easy guys to talk about when you talk about the minor leagues. First round pick, top 5 in the Mets farm system, no matter what outlet you look at. But off to a great start, and it's so great to see. Very excited to see Jett take that next step, get one step closer. Mets fans are going to love the kind of game that Jett Williams plays.
And before we get out of here, I think one more person Hunter wanted to bring up specifically.
Talk some college ball expert here.
And Hunter is the guy who runs the Mets Player Dev Twitter and Instagram. So
they don't know I'm at Mets Player Dev.
No, I just wanted to AJ Ewing this week. I mean, first of all, he's second in the Florida State League in batting average at 429, only second to Marco Vargas, his teammate down there.
Hey, I was going to talk about Marco Vargas.
I know you were. But AJ Ewing's been putting up monster numbers. He hit the walk-off earlier on Scooby-Doo night.
I saw that.
And I think he had 3 hits that night.
It's a good one.
His OPS is at 1150. He's just hitting the absolute cover off the ball. He's tied for first in the Florida State League with 21 hits. He's just every game he's had multiple hits. He's locked in right now. So hopefully soon, he's joining that really good Brooklyn team that I know you guys are talking about.
Clones are sick.
Yeah. Maimonides, I know you said, is going to be the place to be all summer until, all those guys go up to Binghamton. But yeah, I mean, AJ Ewing he's tearing the cover off the ball.
And what's most impressive about AJ is the Florida State League average is 21. A lot of college kids go there, drafted. They start their pro careers in low A in the Florida State League. AJ's 19 years old now, if that. He can't be older than 19. So he's playing against guys that are 2 years older than him and having the success that he has. Incredibly sweet lefty swing. You mentioned Marco Vargas, the guy the Mets acquired in the David Robertson deal. He has been one of the best, if not the best player in the Florida State League. 4 hits on Sunday. Silky smooth. The combination of Marco Vargas, Jeremy Rodriguez acquired for Tommy Pham, and then Trey Snyder drafted by the Mets last year. That's second base, shortstop, third base on that St. Lucie Mets infield. That is a dream infield on both sides of the ball. So you look at every level of Mets minor league baseball, Mets player development, there's so much to be excited about. Chandler Marsh, another guy we haven't even talked about, undrafted from University of Georgia, dominant outing this weekend. You want to talk about Carson Benj, the great start he's off to, been an on-base machine, not striking out at all. Ronald Hernandez has been an on-base machine, a guy that when the Mets made that trade back in the Future of Flushing days, we talked about the walk rate that he had that was heads better than anyone else in the Florida Complex League at the time. He's here in the system. You want to talk about, Hunter, the list goes on and on. It's incredible.
Hunter, tell us about Chandler Marsh, and then we're going to get out of here.
I say Chandler Marsh this year, in I believe his 4 outings, he has not allowed a base runner. Nobody's gotten on base against him.
Live arms. 5
strikeouts, 2 innings pitched. Last night for St. Lucie, also on Scooby-Doo night. So yeah, he was an undrafted pitcher from Georgia. It's not like he's top level pick. That was super scouted. It's just this front office and this player development and this scouting department that's finding these guys, and that's no joke. 4 straight outings, not a single base runner in the
This
Florida
Mets
State
team
League.
knows how to identify talent. That's just the nuts and bolts of it.
And David Stearns, it's year 2 now for him. He's put his own people in place. Those are cross-checkers. Those are local scouts that are doing the job. Ramon Gomez is another guy, some of the best stuff in all minor league baseball, pumping 103, just striking out everybody. So, I like that we do this, and, we try to feature different guys. And it seems like every time we do talk minor league ball, there's someone else to talk to. Every single level. Syracuse, Binghamton, Brooklyn, St. Lucie, when the FCL starts, some of the guys that were drafted last year, some of the younger guys, they're going to get going. Some guys that we talked about DSL a couple of years ago that'll be coming over stateside for the first time. We're excited to talk about those guys. So there's a lot to look forward to. It's all coming together. Nolan McClain also had another bonanza of an outing. That's a guy who it would not shock me if he pitched for the Major League Mets at some point this year. There's a lot to love. And we got the Phillies coming in town for the first time. Of course, a rematch of the NLDS. That'll be a whole lot of fun. Tuesday, $2 Tuesdays here at Citi Field. $5, excuse me, $2 Tuesdays is something.
Not $2 Tuesdays.
Yes, my bad.
Nothing for $2.
No, sorry, my bad. $2 Tuesday was a thing in Bloomington, Indiana back in the day. That was treacherous. $5 Tuesday, just as good. I mean, with the dollar changing and everything, it's basically $2 Tuesday from 2013. Am I right?
$5 Tuesday.
Yeah, John. No.
$5 hot dogs, $5 beers. It's going to be a good day. It's going to be a
good series.
Come out. Remember when Rob Thompson said that Citi Field was a hostile environment? Let's keep that hostile environment.
Prove him right.
Yeah.
Prove him right.
Let's make it hostile. So we will see you guys back here after the Mets-Philly series, hopefully talking about another Mets series win. But in the meantime, you know what you should be doing? You should be going to PC Richard & Son.
That is right, Vito. They are family-owned. They're local. And, Vito, we trust them to have the guaranteed lowest prices and a friendly and knowledgeable staff. It's all about knowing your product, helping your customers out, right? For appliances, TVs, electronics, if you guys want to watch this on a brand new laptop, you can. Just head over to PC Richard & Son. You need a mattress, that's your spot. Get there, the company you can trust since 1903.
You can follow this podcast on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. I'm on Twitter at Vito F. Khaleesi, John at JMB9191. Thank you guys for listening. We'll see you next time at the Apple.